Hello there, air signs. Welcome back to my channel if you are a returning subscriber or viewer. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the reading and that you will take a moment, if you do enjoy the reading, to subscribe at the end of the video. If you are not subscribed to the channel and you've watched multiple videos of mine, why are you not subscribed yet? Go ahead and click subscribe. You will forget to do it, so I'm reminding you here right at the top of the video. So air signs, I'm doing things a little bit differently, as you can probably tell, because I'm grouping the readings for the September equinox based on elements. And there are lots of reasons for that. I'm actually not going to go into them because the energy for you guys tapping into it, I think you just want me to get to the point. I feel very much like the air signs right now are in a space of, I've got stuff to do. I only have so much time to do it. I don't really have a lot of time to waste. And so I'm going to respect that and go ahead and just show you guys the spread. So here's what I'm doing for you guys. I just want to point out that this is a them and you reading. So this is going to be a reading about some sort of connection, some sort of relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, but it would be about you and another person. Now, the top part is focused on that other person. I'm going to look at their fears, feelings, any block that's in their way, their desire, and if they have any secrets that are unknown to you. Then we'll take a look here. Most likely this is where I'll do it. I have sort of done it differently in the readings that I've done, but I will pull a card off the bottom of the deck for current energy. Typically, I read through the energy of the other person first and then take a look at that, just because I think it gives a little bit more insight for me as a reader to look at it at that point. But there will be a card here. And then I'm going to take a look at things pertinent to you, the person listening to me, the person viewing this video. So what you should do, how you should act, insight into why this happened, whatever that is by the time we get to it, and also advice and guidance for you. I will be using this deck. This is the Fountain Tarot in case you're interested in that. I also will be using this Oracle deck, which is The Universe Has Your Back. And for clarification, I'm using my Rider-Waite deck, which I have sitting here next to me. So in case anyone was curious about the cards, I want to just remember before I dive into this to tell you guys what I'm using. So I'm going to take this overlay away. Don't worry if you can't remember what everything was, as I work my way through it. I will remind you guys of what it is. You can watch as my skin tone changes the hue of this video. If anyone out there has any suggestions for how to not make that happen, since I am apparently ghostly white and kill the white balance, let me know. It's very strange. If I remove my hands and just put the cards here again, you'll see it just magically warms back up, or at least that's what it's looking like to me. So I'll see what it looks like when I play it back. I'm going to give this deck a couple of cuts. This is for my air signs. Okay, one more shuffle, and then I'm just going to basically put these cards down where I feel they best belong. I think that's how I'm going to do it for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this card right off the bottom, put it here. That's going to be the overall energy for you guys. Taking a look at the other person and their fears. I'm going to give 3 cards here. 2 for feelings. 2 at block. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to shuffle before pulling the cards for you guys specifically. Okay, so that's what to do, how to act. Okay, insight into why this happened. advice and guidance is there. I feel with this one, I'm likely going to need to do some clarifying specifically on that card. As I mentioned, if I need to clarify anything else that's here, I'll use another deck for that. So let's go ahead and dive into this and start taking a look. We're going to start here. And again, this is about the other person, specifically their fears. So we have the Emperor coming out upright with the King of Wands upright and the Ace of Cups reversed. So let me start with this combination here. So the King of Wands coming out with the Emperor. This is very interesting, especially in the place of a fear. The Ace of Cups here, I'm just going to reference. This fear resides specifically with this person in regards to the newness of a relationship, the newness of potentially opening up to love. I don't feel necessarily that this person is in a new relationship. I feel that the fear is specific to thinking about new relationships or new connections or forming those. There's a lot of fear and anxiety around it. So now the King of Wands here with the Emperor. Both of these cards represent lots of energy around someone who is a leader or taking the lead in a situation, being the authority. It's also both very ambitious and success driven in terms of the cards and the energy. It feels, in terms of the placement here around the fear of this person, that there's a lot of thinking and focus on an ambitious goal, something at which you want to be successful, something that you have a lot of passion about. And there's a connection between that specific goal, which it doesn't necessarily feel completely professional. It feels like all aspects of your life. You're looking at your life in a different way, and you're no longer focusing on. Okay, I think I say this every time I read for air signs. I think this is a good place to just let me have a moment, because here's what happens when I do air sign. So I'm a water sign. When I do air sign readings, I love reading for you guys, because every time I read for an air sign, the readings are very complex in terms of what I experience as a reader. And a lot of times I have to really work to think about how to verbalize what I'm picking up from you guys energetically. It's almost like I have to translate it. So it's like I experience you guys in French and I have to explain you guys in English or something like that. So it's interesting reading for all three of the air signs at once, because that whole experience for me is intensified. So here's what I'm feeling in terms of this other person. They have shifted how they think about their own life. And they no longer think about their life in terms of looking at things as individual aspects of their life, meaning they don't look at their career as one thing and their love life as another, and their spiritual health as one thing, and their mental health and physical health. In the past, they looked at each of those things individually, and they would almost play a game of, well, this part might really be going really badly, but these other things are going really well, so that compensates. And they don't think that way anymore. I feel like it was very important to explain it to you guys in that specific way, that this shift has happened in how they think about their life. And they realize now that if one thing is off, so for example, if their career is off or their relationship is off, then it prevents them from actually having the best possible experience in other areas. So if their relationship is off, they're not going to be able to show up at work and be as productive, even if they think that they are distracting themselves or keeping themselves busy with work. What they've realized now is that they aren't being as productive. They aren't able to think as clearly. They aren't able to show up as their best self when they have these other areas of their life that they are neglecting. Sorry if there's traffic noise. I'm filming in the middle of the afternoon right now, and normally I film really late at night, but I want to do your reading right now, so you might hear some street noise. I apologize for that. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to dwell on that too long, but I felt like it was really important to explain that. That this person, their fear is around not knowing for sure that they can be this King of Wands Emperor energy when it comes to a relationship, or feeling that the negativity, this Ace of Cups being reversed instead of being upright, that is preventing them from really being this, even though they've tricked themselves in the past of thinking that they were doing really well in certain areas and using that as an excuse to either not focus on a relationship or not deal with things in a relationship or not act like they were hurt by the end of a relationship. Okay, that was really complicated. I hope this is not how the whole reading is going to go, because that was a lot. Let's take a look at this person's feelings. I do feel like I should just say here as well, this is a general reading, so it is possible for some of you that these could be reversed, meaning you listening to me, this might respond, you might feel like this resonates more and corresponds to you more than it does to the other person. If that's your experience, that's your experience. Just let that be how you interpret this, okay? So for this person's feelings, we have the Queen of Cups with the Moon reversed. Okay, so these are really awesome cards to come out here in terms of how this person is feeling, because the Queen of Cups represents an energy that is extremely stable, listening to intuition, very much being connected to what you're being called to do, what you're being led to do. Sorry. What you're being led to do. There's a lot of intense, nurturing, caring sort of energy coming off of this card. Now, the Moon card reversed represents releasing our inner fears, things that we have emotions where we are stuck with those emotions, or where we have hidden those emotions or feelings or fears from ourselves, meaning they're either repressed or we are trying to pretend that they don't exist. Okay, so this person is right now dealing with a lot of and this matches what's going on here, what I was talking about. This person is dealing with a lot of the old ways that they used to think and the old ways that they used to approach life, and realizing that it has actually been a detriment to them, that it has actually cost them and caused consequences for them in their life. But they're being very kind to themselves, and they're doing this in a very good way. It's not, they're not beating themselves up about it. They're just accepting it and trying to figure out how they want to move forward from it, or what they need to do to change it. Okay. Now, block here, what I mean by block is either what's blocking you from this person, what's blocking this person from having success. It depends on what comes out here and sort of how the rest of the reading looks, but let's take a look and see what their block is. Okay, so we have the Three of Cups reversed with the World card. Okay. Well, with the World card coming out here, I feel I have to say that one of the things blocking this person from all of this is how I feel it. I don't necessarily feel like this is what's blocking them from you. This Ace of Cups reversed, that's what this World card represents. It represents that ending. And since the World card is what has come out here, this represents something that is a very big ending. And not only in the sense that the relationship was very important, and the relationship, it was definitely something that was fairly long term, meaning it probably was years spent with this person. So the ending itself of the relationship feels really big and like a big thing closing out. But what happened and what occurred within this relationship happened so that this World card could be here, so that a cycle that's actually been a very long cycle can close out. And it makes sense because, you know, we recently had the full moon. You have the Moon card coming out here. That full moon really energetically, it's brought up a lot of things to do with closure and things finishing up. And it's not just things that are short cycle. It's things that either we've carried with us since we were young from our childhood, we've still brought those into adulthood and need to process and release those, or it could be life cycles over many lifetimes, if that's something that you believe in. I like to leave it open-ended for people because I know lots of people who watch this have different things that they believe in and things that they don't. And so I just like to address both. Okay, so however you personally connect to this notion, this is something that you've dealt with for a very long time and have set out through this connection with this person to close that down, to finish it, to finally realize it and heal it. And I do feel like you're on track with it. I think that you are getting those insights and having those realizations for sure. Now, with this Three of Cups coming out reversed, I do just want to say that this can represent a third-party energy, and I feel like for this particular reading, that doesn't even really matter. So if there was a third party involved, that was just the catalyst that was chosen to end things here and to set forth this this expansion for this person. I feel very much like both people involved here were, spiritually in the know that this was how this relationship was going to play out. And it was designed for a purpose of closing out this cycle. What I do want to say here, more so than a third-party energy, is that this other person, I feel that there is a tendency or a high likelihood that if they do get overwhelmed by this work, if they get overwhelmed by the spiritual work, if they fail to maintain this Emperor King of Wands vibe, and if those cards start to flip into reverse energetically for them, there's a tendency for this person to utilize drugs or drinking as a coping mechanism, or just escaping from their mind and the things that they don't want to deal with through some sort of partying behavior. That energy feels much more prominent on this Three of Cups reversed than a cheating third party sort of energy. Not to say there wasn't a third party, because there might have been, but in this particular situation, what brought this relationship to an end doesn't matter. It's the purpose of this relationship, which makes me really curious to see what we have here on the why it happened, but let's not skip ahead. So this section represents this person's desire. I pulled 4 cards out here for that. I felt very much like there were lots of cards. We have the Two of Cups reversed with the Hermit reversed, Justice reversed, and then the King of Coins. Okay, so this King of Coins, I've talked a lot about that with this person, I think, more at the beginning. This just is, I think, confirmation that part of what this person desires is to be really successful when it comes to business, when it comes to their finances, and being someone who's well off, wealthy, stable, secure. That's really important to this person. So I think that's just coming out as confirmation for those listening. If they needed some sort of additional confirmation about who this person is, it's just confirming what I was picking up earlier about them, that they can often look to being King of Coins as meaning they're okay, that they're doing well. But that's the energy that's shifting for them. And that's what's shown in these cards. Okay, so we have the Two of Cups reversed, with Justice reversed and the Hermit reversed. So this Hermit is, I always get concerned when I have the Hermit come out reversed, because the Hermit on its own represents really sort of pulling our energy back, pulling our energy away, and being fairly withdrawn and not having a lot of connection, spending a lot of time in our minds, in our hearts, and our feelings. Okay, when it's reversed, I get concerned, because that means you're even pulling away from people who didn't have anything to do with whatever made you want to be by yourself, and you're not connecting with anyone, and you're really isolating yourself, and it gets to the point where you are obsessively thinking about this painful experience, and you get so pulled into yourself that you can't get yourself out, and you get stuck in that thinking. And for air signs, this is my biggest concern for you guys when I do your reading, is I get very worried that when this card comes out for you guys, I get very worried because I really want to just jump in and say, at least go have dinner with a friend, at least, return the text of the people who have been trying to check in on you, at least answer the phone when someone calls. It's not a healthy place if you end up here. And I feel a lot of you are in this space right now. And it's interesting because I'm sensing here that there's mirroring that's happening. And I think even though I'm talking about this other person, they could be another air sign, but I just feel like even earlier when I took a break to say, if this is seeming like it's reversed for you guys, let it be reversed. I think that for a lot of the air signs, they are also, this is all going to sound very much like what you are experiencing, what you are going through. And just tuning into you, this Hermit reverse, that's the thing. It triggered all that fear about the air signs, but like you guys are down here. And I'm wondering if these cards are just going to tell the same story, but just in a different way. And I'm bringing this up because we have the Two of Cups reversed, which represents a breakup, an ending to a relationship. We have the Ace of Cups reversed. We have the Three of Cups reversed. Okay, so around relationships and love, we have a lot of these heavier, more sad. I don't want to say the word sad because these cards feel extremely heavy, emotionally heavy. It's not just the sadness though. There's much more weight to it emotionally, and just saying they feel sad felt a little bit dismissive. And I wanted to find another way to phrase this to represent that this is very intense. This feels very heavy. And the reason for that is because of this Justice reversed. This person, to go back to this, they really want there to be justice around this relationship existing. And the ending of it, they don't even need to necessarily deal with that. It feels like for this person, what they're saying is, there has to be some reason that I went through that. There has to be something for me here. There has to be some sort of insight or clarity. I need to know the truth about what this was and why this happened and why it felt the way that it did. It's not so much a focus on the breakup. It's a focus on this relationship, how the whole thing, the whole entire thing. And it's why they're in this Hermit energy, and why what's happened for this person is they haven't been able to do what they would typically do. I need to get some water, guys. Hold on one second. Okay. This person wasn't able to do what they would typically do, and that's really to dive into work and distract themselves with that, and to really focus on the things that they know they're good at, so that they get almost like an ego boost from having that easy success. Okay? But they weren't able to do that this time. They were still haunted by this relationship and the ending, and the fact that they know in their core that this had some sort of purpose, that this had some sort of meaning. And it takes us all the way back here to this place of fear, because once they started trying to figure out what the purpose was, the things that were coming up for them in terms of why they might have had this experience, it was all the world. They realized that it was the culmination of a lot of decisions that they've made in their life, a lot of choices and beliefs that they have, made and held on to. And they realized that they had to change these things. They just want that to be done. They just want that work to be done. They want to go ahead and figure it out. And it's interesting that I pulled so many cards here, because this feels like where most of their energy is, honestly. Their desires feel more intense to me than their fears or the block. And that's good because it means that they really want to figure this out and they are putting in the work and the effort to do it. So let's see what secret they have. This would be something that is unknown to you, at least. It could actually be unknown to the person, but I mean it most likely to mean it's unknown to you. And we have the High Priestess coming out upright. Here's what I would say. I do just want to mention here for those who this phrase would act as some sort of confirmation for you. This card does represent the divine feminine. But what I get from this mostly is that what's probably not known to you, or what might surprise you about this situation with this other person, is that they are heavily relying on their intuition and their own spiritual, sacred connection to try to navigate this. And I think that might surprise a lot of you listening, because this person might not seem like someone who even has a lot of buy-in or belief to spirituality or things like that. But they actually do, and it could be something newly discovered from this work around the moon reversed, and connecting to those feelings. It could be that they decided for some reason to trust a hunch or to listen to their own intuition, and it just led them to a lot of success and to a lot of understanding. So now they're trusting it more and more. And that feels very much like it would not be how people would describe them. It wouldn't be what people would necessarily say about them. So we are at a midpoint here with the reading. I don't necessarily feel like I need to clarify anything, but what I want to do here is just see if we can get an oracle card or two to come out before we move into reading for you. And then we'll take a look at the oracle cards as well as this current energy card. I want to see what's going on with the current energy before going into any of this more advice-focused area for you. So I want to come out for this one's hanging on by a thread, so let's put it down there. Advice, insight, guidance for the air signs. So also, guys, let me know what you think about this reading. I am actually enjoying reading, combining you guys into your elements, because it feels energetically much bigger for me as a reader, which is interesting. But let me know what you think. And if the reading does resonate with you, I would love it if you would leave a comment. And if you leave a comment, add your sign to your comment. You can just either start it with your sign or put it in parentheses, whatever you want to do. But I'm just curious, when I go through to read the comments from you guys, I want to see if I'm connecting fairly well across the three signs, or if I'm heavily connecting with one of you. It just helps me to get some feedback so that I can think about doing these readings in the future, or whether I don't want to do this anymore. So we did get two oracle cards that came out here. So the first one says, I surrender to a power greater than me. And then you have, I recognize that I've chosen fear. I choose again. I choose love. So what I feel here is that these two people have, again, like I said, like this, it's something that's been called quits. It's done. But it does seem like both people have at least hope and definitely a desire for there to be a potential for something again. And I don't necessarily know if that means with the same person, but just that both people are at least open to the notion that they will love again. They will be loved again. Let's take a look here. This is the current energy. We have the Fool in reverse. Okay, that's hilarious because it's really just the opposite of what these two cards are saying. So I just have to say again here, what I was saying earlier about this Three of Cups, remember about the person who if they get overwhelmed by this, their instinct would be to either drink or party or turn to drugs to try to avoid this or numb this or whatever. This Fool reversed has a very similar vibe coming back from it. Very reckless and risky behavior attached to this, and I want to address that energy because it's screaming out, and I want that to die down a little bit so I can see if there's anything else here other than that. Because initially I felt that wow, it's still, I'm just seeing like I just feel like it's very important to say, if this is someone who has an addiction issue, and whether that is something that is current or that is something that has been treated, I'm getting a very strong message from my guides here to say that pushing this person or inflicting pain on this person or trying to trigger this person to make yourself feel less pain or less hurt is a very karmically risky. Because if that energy from you pushes this person into this Three of Cups reversed, Fool reversed space, whatever their rock bottom, whatever their lowest of the low has been historically, it would push them to one that is more intense. And I don't feel like that's anything that you would wish for this person. And so it feels very much like just a warning coming through. I don't think there's anything else that I need to say about that, but that's really, this card was very intense around that specific thing. Now, what I've been trying to say is that I do feel that this also represents an unwillingness at this point to dive into or jump into any sort of romantic relationship, because this surrender feels fairly new, and therefore there's a lot of fear that still remains. It will take a while for this fear to go away so that love can be chosen again. And I think that is just what the Fool came out in terms of the cards and the current energy to represent. But beyond that, this current energy feels very much like this person could be either on the edge of sliding into some sort of really addictive types of behaviors, or might actually already be there. And I just need to say that. Okay. I'm just going to take a moment because that energy was really intense. And so if that specific section resonated with any of you, and you have been considering reaching out to this person, I would just say, I want to say this before I get into the what to do and how to act, because this is just actually coming through for me more as a message. If you can reach out to this person with kindness, or reach out to this person and not be hostile, if you feel that sort of, if that's the space that you find yourself in with this person, and this part resonated with you, reaching out and coming from a space of love to this person could actually be helpful. But again, what I was saying earlier, if you can't do that, if you feel like you'll blow up or you'll start a fight or you'll, have to have the conversation, they're not ready for that conversation for sure. And they're not, I want to say for some of them, but it feels very intense. So maybe it's, I did a reading last round of the sign readings, and there was one that was so specific about people being pregnant, and I thought it would be for like 2 people, and so many people have commented on it and said that was exactly their story. So it's possible there are lots of these people who are in this space, but that space doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel safe to me. So I just needed to say that. So let's move on to you. I would love to move out of that energy. So what should you do? This could mean if this person comes back to you, or just in general, if you're looking for advice, again, take it however it's going to work best for you. These are just the cards and saying, what you should do. So you have the King of Swords coming out with the Three of Coins. They're both reversed. Okay. So the King of Swords, when it's reversed, is a tricky card because this can represent someone who is being dishonest, and I don't think that you're being advised to lie or to be to not be truthful. So I also don't feel like this is a warning saying to be cautious of someone, that maybe someone is not being honest or being truthful, especially with this person. I feel like with this person, their energy feels very much like, until I know what I want to say, until I know what I need to apologize for or ask about, or what it is that needs to be dealt with, I'm not going to reach out. So if this person were to come in, I feel like they wouldn't be coming in trying to like tell you a bunch of lies. They would actually be coming in because they wanted to talk. If they didn't want to talk, or if they didn't know what to focus on, they just simply aren't going to communicate, is what it feels like. What these cards feel like, truly, it's interesting because the Three of Coins here is absolutely giving off the energy of just solo, working alone, being solo, being single, being on your own. And this King of Swords, it just feels like a centering within yourself, and just being comfortable there, being okay just being within yourself and not having the involvement of anyone else. It doesn't feel like this Hermit reversed card vibe up here, because it's not that you're not interacting with people or connecting with people, but it's just you've pulled your energy all the way back into yourself, and you're okay having it all. That was interesting. So what this feels like is that a lot of times what you do, because you feel like when it's just you, it's so intense and it's so much that you actually enjoy having other people to focus on and to put your energy. It's almost like you loan your energy out in a way to other people because you feel like you have too much of it. But right now you've pulled all of your energy in, and you're actually okay. And this is saying to keep doing that, to keep, or if you're not yet there, if that's not where you're at, that's what you should do, is pull your energy in and find a way to be comfortable with it. I think for most of you, though, when you heard that, you were shaking your head yes, like, yes, absolutely, that's where I'm at, that's what I feel. So just keep doing that. It's a good space for you to be. Now, how to act, we had 3 cards come out here. You have the Nine of Wands with the Nine of Coins, and you have the Chariot. So, well, these are really interesting. The energy alone is, okay. How do I want to, this might be a section where I clarify a little bit, but so the Nine of Wands, I'm just going to talk about this energy first, because this feels very much like it's representing a space where there's a test of your commitment, a test of your faith, a test of your willingness to show how much you're invested in something. And it seems like it's actually connected to this notion of independence and being able to take care of yourself, being able to stand on your own, being able to provide for yourself, not only provide for yourself, but provide for yourself and have more than what you need. And the Chariot card coming out is basically saying that you have to be so disciplined. You have to be so in control of yourself, in your behaviors, in your thoughts, in what you do, how you're giving your energy out. And that's the test. If you can do that, if you can manage to pull your energy in and hold yourself accountable and set goals and be focused on what you want to manifest and what you want to see happen, whether that's with this relationship or whether it's with your career or whether it's with some sort of goal, any other goal in life. If you can do that, if you can really commit to it and keep yourself focused on it, you'll have a huge success. But you have to be like a boss about this. It's this energy of, I wake up and I have a set schedule. I am doing this. I'm making goals. This is going to happen by this date. I want to have this much money in my savings by this date. And this is how I'm going to make sure I get that much money. It's great energy for air signs because it's this very tangible, measurable. Success is not something that you can doubt. You can look at metrics and say, I'm killing it, or I'm not doing well here. I need to step it up. And I think what's happened here is that this person up here, they need to be in their feelings. They need to be in their mind. They need to do a lot of stuff. But I feel like you've done that already. Like you've already done the work that you need to do emotionally and about your feelings around this person and this connection. And while they're doing this stuff, until whenever they come in to talk, when they're ready to talk, this is where you need to focus. It's time to just focus on you. And don't feel guilty about that. Don't feel like you're being selfish. You're doing something that's really good for yourself. Let's take a look here at the cards that represent why this relationship happened. What was the purpose of it in your life? You have the Two of Coins come out reversed. The Strength card reversed with the Five of Coins reversed. So lots of reversals here. And so this Five of Coins reversed, I feel like a lot of what I was talking about here, about being able to stand on your own and take care of yourself, there wasn't a lot of that in your past. This represents a recovery from a big financial setback or a financial loss. And I think that this was part of what this relationship, in some way, it pushed you to want to be able to take care of yourself. So I don't know if you felt stuck with this person because you didn't know how to survive on your own, or if you could survive on your own, or if you had to stay in a situation based on a financial need. But there's something about this relationship that it became a priority and something that was very important to you, for you to be able to really take care of yourself, to not have to depend on somebody else. And it doesn't feel defeatist or like you're writing at people off completely. It's just saying, like, if I ever need help, I'll be happy there are people there to help me, but I want to do everything I can to ensure that I don't need the help. So it's not a bad energy. It doesn't feel like a bad energy. This Two of Coins here that's reversed, this energy feels weird to me. So what I was talking about here with really holding yourself accountable, being very in control of yourself, setting goals, being ambitious, measuring things. This Two of Coins vibe feels like maybe that's not the way that you've been in the past, and that possibly has caused you a lot of issues. Because this feels very disorganized and like there's a need to reprioritize things. But I think that's what you're doing. I feel like that's what this represents. So again, it's like the space that you found yourself in after this relationship ended has set you up to heal this pentacle reversal type energy around being able to take care of yourself. And, you have the Strength card reversed, which represents doubt and weakness and fears and needing to find your own inner strength and processing through a lot of those more heavy, raw emotions, right? So all of this makes sense in terms of this is what you're dealing with. This is what you're trying to heal, right? But Maybe for some of you, you didn't realize that this is what you needed to heal. Maybe for some of you, you weren't aware that this is what you needed to do or what the purpose of this relationship was. It seems a little interesting to me. I was tempted to clarify, but I don't actually want to go that in depth with this because I think that would be getting too specific. If you want to explore it more deeply, you can email me, KeaghanTarot@gmail.com, and we can do a personal reading. But I just feel like maybe some of you aren't aware that this relationship did lead you to this space, that it did actually lead you to healing this stuff and facing this lack of strength that you have around being able to stand on your own and be on your own and to not necessarily need to rely on another person. It's possible that this person, one thing I'll say going back, picking up on this Emperor, King of Wands energy. What was this one? The King of Pentacles. It's possible that this person, because like I said at the beginning, they felt very much, their confidence in themselves was very much around their career and their money. It could be that they used that against you, that they created a place where you felt like you couldn't survive without them. And you're healing that energy now by really sort of proving them wrong. I do get that a little bit here for some of you. So let's look here at advice and guidance. We have the Nine of Swords coming out upright. This is so weird. I'm going to see. Okay, I remember saying I felt like I was going to have to clarify that, and I'm absolutely going to have to clarify that because advice guidance, this card is like the nightmare card. This is all anxiety and worry and being totally in your head. And I could just say that it means don't do that, but I'm going to clarify it because I want to know exactly why this card came out in this spot for advice and guidance. I will just say, don't do that to yourself. Don't get so in your head that you're just all anxiety and worry and fear. And, this card represents literal nightmare. So if you're someone who feels like you get messages through your dreams or you work to interpret your dreams, then maybe pay attention to your dreams. But we do have a couple of cards that have come out as clarifiers. I'm just going to go through one more time, see if anything else wants to come out. Okay. So remember here when I talked about this King of Swords reversed? And I said that it just felt like this was about you being comfortable having your energy, being in your energy, being with yourself. So we have the King of Swords coming out reversed. Again, here's a clarifier for this advice. Okay, so it's saying find that comfort of being okay, being fully in yourself. And what I'm taking from that, I haven't flipped these over yet, so I don't know what they are. But what I'm taking from this is that it's saying being fully okay with being in yourself means being fully okay sitting in that anxiety, sitting in that fear, sitting in that this Nine of Swords energy. Because the only way that you, especially, this is so true for air signs, the way that you work through feelings and emotions is through analyzing them, being fully in them and sort of picking them apart and thinking about why things are the way they are and why you feel the way you do about the way things are. It's just a very analytical way of processing your emotions. And so I feel like this is just saying you're going to have to, it is the advice and guidance. You're going to have to feel this energy, but you can make it be less scary, less painful by just reminding yourself, I'm doing this so I can process it and let it go. So the other two cards that came out as advice guidance here, let's talk about this Emperor reversed first. And then we'll talk about this. You had this somewhere else, I thought. The Nine of Coins here. You have the Nine of Coins coming out reversed here. It's not a bad card. I'm going to talk about this first, and then we'll get to this. This is just saying, really focusing in on your self-worth and to be mindful to not how can I put this? Like, don't work yourself to death on something. It doesn't necessarily feel like literal work. It could be that you're working too hard, that you're putting in too many hours, you're burning the candle on both ends, you're reaching the point of being exhausted. It could be that, but what I just feel here is that it's saying in general, specifically with some of this work that you're doing and some of this, this center part here, that how to act and why this happened, this energy is pretty intense. And I feel like this is just saying, like, don't try to get through this in a weekend. Don't try to push through this to the point that you're either not really healing it. It's almost like if you have an injury, you have to stay off of it and let it heal, or else you're going to make it worse. Like, you can do that with emotional pain and emotional hurt. Okay, so it's saying be cautious and don't do that. You had the Emperor coming out reversed, and again, I feel like this comes across more as a warning. It's the opposite of everything here. The Emperor, when it is reversed, is a very undisciplined, chaotic sort of vibe. And I also feel that this is saying, again, it's so close to this card, which I got all that energy off of earlier. The Emperor reversed can be a very angry energy, a very dominating and cold, just totally unwilling to compromise, very inflexible sort of vibe. This advice is saying be mindful not to go there. It's not going to do you any good to be in that energy. And it's also really potentially dangerous for this person. I don't want you to think that I'm making this person some victim or that they're blameless. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, if you try your best to control coming at this person, at least right now, with this energy. If this is what you would have to offer them, just don't go there at all. Just cut it off. If you feel like you couldn't see this person or talk to this person without it leading to some sort of fight or confrontation, just don't deal with it. There's no need for you to deal with it because, again, keep in mind how to act is focusing on you and what you need to do and getting yourself stable. So this is it's confirming that. Like, let this person be. Just let them be. Let them do what they're doing. Don't worry about it. You focus on you. Okay, what I want to do here, because this reading is going a little bit long, I'm just going to go through the Oracle deck one more time. See if anything wants to come out as final advice or guidance. Let me just click you guys back here for a second. So I just want to say that this reading, it feels very intense, but it doesn't feel, I did not feel anxious or worried or concerned. It's just a lot. It feels like there's a lot, and there's been a lot. It feels like this has been something that's been going on for a while, and there's lots that you've worked to process through, lots that you've healed, lots that you've let go of. Some things feel like maybe you thought that you had dealt with them, or you thought that you had control over them, but this full moon could have brought those things back up, and you realize that there's still work to be done. And I just wanted to say, if you find yourself in that situation, don't beat yourself up about it. That's also what I get from this Emperor reversed, is that you can be pretty tough with yourself. And if you realize that you thought you were done with something, but there's still work for you to be focused on around that specific thing, don't beat yourself up, because it doesn't mean you didn't do a lot of work. You did. You've done a lot of work, and you've healed a lot, and you've made a lot of progress. You just had a blind spot, or there was something that you weren't aware of yet. And so now you know that, and that's great that you know that there's more to do, and just focus on it. Just do what you did before. It's like you had a lot of 9s in this reading from what I can remember. And I think that just represents, like, you're really close to having those 10s where everything starts to really be done, and you're letting things go, and things are wrapping up. So just keep going with it. Keep pushing yourself. Okay. So what I want to do here is I'm going to put you guys back here. Let's see what wants to come out from the Oracle for Gemini. Any additional advice, guidance, clarification for Gemini? I don't get anything this time. I'm just going to pull one. Okay. Maybe this is how we're going to do it. We'll go for Gemini here. Do Libra. And Aquarius. I had been pulling cards out of the Rider-Waite deck for each of the signs as well, but for you guys, I feel like this reading was really specific and really clear about what needs to happen and where to focus. So I'm just going to go just with these, okay? So for Gemini, we have happiness as my birthright. Gemini, just focus on your happiness. Focus on things that make you feel good. Focus on things that really make you feel like you're going after what you want, that you're creating the life that you want, that you're manifesting the sort of things into your world. And when you have success, celebrate those things and just really remind yourself that you 100%, just by being you, just by being born, you have the right to happiness and you get to determine what makes you happy. Libra. It says, when I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. So Libras, if you have felt that you have not been able to have peace, or if you feel like you have maybe gotten to a point where you feel peace, you feel like there's a calm in the storm, just remember that the way to maintain that, to keep that energy around you, is to just align yourself with the love of the universe and remind yourself that the universe wants to see you happy. The universe wants to see you succeeding. And as long as you trust that, as long as you align yourself towards that and you open yourself up to have those rewards and to have that love sent your way, nothing can disrupt that peace. You're just going to maintain that space. You're going to remain calm. You're going to remain focused. You're going to remain positive. Okay. Aquarius, right? Yes. So, it says, the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. So very similar energy here to what I just spoke about. It's interesting that two of you guys got messages about peace and letting the universe do some work here. It's this. So right now, I feel like the Fool is like I mentioned earlier, it's upside down right now for current energy. But if you guys can get back to this, back into this sort of free-spirited, believing that things are going to be okay, trusting in your own abilities, believing there's nothing that you can't figure out, that you can't work through and navigate, and get back into that space of just feeling at peace with yourself and feeling like you not that you have control, because we don't have control. That's just something that we try to convince ourselves of. Like, the world's very chaotic, but we do have the ability to navigate that chaos in the way that we choose. So it's realizing that whatever happens, whatever comes your way, you can figure it out. You can decide what to do, and you can make things feel better. And if you guys, I think that's across the board for all the air signs. If you guys can get into that space, there's just a lot of good that's ahead of you. There's a lot of good that's awaiting you. And I think that that's a good place to sort of wrap this up. So, air signs, again, love reading for you guys. It's such a different experience for me than what I experience in my life as a water sign. I always love doing these readings, and I get excited when I sit down to do the air signs, because it's just, the readings are always intense and they're very complicated and complex. So if this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment below. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps to spread the video and get it more views, which means it reaches more people who need to hear the messages that the video contains. And again, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, I really don't know what is preventing you from doing it. So go ahead and click the subscribe button. Show me some love. I always appreciate it when there are new subscribers. I really do want to see this channel grow. If you guys have any sort of suggestions or feedback about how that can happen, let me know. If there are specific videos that you want me to do or anything that you want me to talk about, I'd love to hear that as well. I'm just looking at the cards again. I don't feel anything jumping out to me as additional messages. So, air signs, it was good spending time with you. I hope that you enjoy getting to know your fellow sister, brother, cousin signs, however you want to look at it, when you interact in the comments. And again, if you do leave a comment, make sure to include your sign with your comment so I can keep track of maybe who this resonated for the most, or if it was actually pretty balanced between the signs, because I'm curious to see how that happens. So I will see you guys for the next video. I feel like I just said I very loudly. I'm getting excited because it means I get to stand up and take a break. So, all right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.